This is Launch University. I'm Eric Ralston, and right now we're talking about pitching. We're going to talk about your why. Why are we going to talk about why? Well, you'll find out. This optional learning module is really going to focus in on finding your why, and we're going to talk about that at great detail. So what I mean by pitching, I don't just mean giving a presentation in front of people with a live audience and a bunch of slides behind you, the kind of thing you might think of in a Silicon Valley startup where you're trying to pitch to investors your big idea, your vision for the world, and how you're going to make money at it. I really mean those more so moment-to-moment kind of pitches where maybe you are doing it over a microphone, or you're probably doing it over a telephone, or you might even be writing something for a website or social media online. And I want to equip you with skills to break down your pitch into nuggets so you can deliver it to anyone, anywhere, in any form, while still focusing in on your customer. How are we going to do that? We have 3 tools we're going to use on our roadmap. The first tool, start with why, is what we're going to talk about right now. Pitch structure is about taking your pitch and bringing it up into pieces, and then elevator pitch is about taking those pieces and cramming them back together into an effective pitch that you could give to someone in 30 to 60 seconds. What do I mean by pitch? Pitch in this case, I would define as persuasive communication for the advocacy, investment, or sale of your vision or offerings. Remember that sometimes you're only pitching a vision, as in a view of the world and how you're going to change it, or an offering, an actual product or service that you're hoping to get attention and awareness and conversion on, such that you can actually make money with your business. The foundational concept in a pitch is that there are 2 minds working together, your mind, and not the adversary's mind, but the audience's mind. And you're trying to trade something called insight. Insight is a deep intuitive understanding of something. It echoes from one mind to another. It's not just information. It's not just emotion, because if you're just trying to transmit emotion, that's not sales, that's drama. Insight is really about appealing to a stack of characteristics about the brain. And when I say brain, I do mean literally your brain, not just your mind, but your brain. Since the days of ancient Greece, they have talked about the tripart brain, and there is some anatomy to support it. That basic idea of the bottom part of your brain being the lizard brain that acts on pure instinct and emotion, and the layer on top being the mammalian brain that is able to do things like some reasoning, but mostly it's about memory and synthesizing emotions and input and perception. And finally, the human brain that is really about the reason and the logic. And there's really only this little part in the front that is the brand new, uniquely human piece. And everything else is the primordial soup come to life in a giant ball of fat between your ears. Now, the gentleman who's written the most about how to appeal to this in a structured format, or at least most famously in the last decade, would be Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek wrote the book. He literally wrote the book on it called Start With Why. A beautiful, breezy read with lots of references to great companies. He really likes apples. It really talks about one of my favorite graphics here, the adoption curve, and how you want to be an innovator on the curve who's trying to attract an early adopter. That fundamental concept is actually a big part of why we try to find a niche in the first week of customer validation. And that book is very influential as to how I structured this pitching module. The foundation of his work, you don't need to read a whole book for. You can go find his TED Talk, which is the most like indie film TED Talk of all the TED Talks. It's amazing. He's in like the B squad room. He's on the third. This is like the side ring of the 3-ring circus. But he delivers a great talk in about 18 minutes with just him and a flipboard and a pen, telling inspiring stories, a lot of which are from his book, and connecting your why, your how, and your what. And the thesis being, every company talks about the what. We make hard drives. Would you like one? A lot of companies will talk about how because they'll feel like it's an artisanal thing of like, we make cutting edge hard drives with key components using a proprietary process. But really, the world is about starting with why. And a why pitch would be something like, we know you love your family and you'd never run out of space for them in your heart. So why run out of space for them in your hard drive? Or maybe something less cheesy than that. But that idea of you have the benefit in the world and who needs it and their connection to why. So how are we going to distill that down into something that you can carry over into a pitch? Well, you know me, I have one of my patented exercises. We're going to write the shared belief, key process, and impact of your offering right now. We are going to, of course, use our good friend Miro. This is the big board of worksheets from Launch University. Week by week, we go through these one by one if we do the 5-week course, culminating in the final pitch. Thankfully, there's no worksheet for the pitch aside for the judges. They're finally going to start pulling their own weight that week. Here you can see customer validation, business model, pitching, and Founder 101, the top level topics that we cover each week. And this week is about pitching. So we're going to zoom in. It does break down into 3 pieces. We have the why, the how, and the what. The why is about the purpose, inspiration, or history of your company. Could be something like you have a previous life experience that you need to share or maybe even prevent in the world as part of your offering. This works really well for folks who have some sort of problem-solving gadget. Maybe you want to make a cheese grater that's safer than any other cheese grater because you lost part of your finger when you were a young child. That is a compelling why for a company that you could put into every story about the company, way more than this cheese grater, very sharp. And that's the kind of marketing that Simon would say is terrible. How, which is the process, step-by-step, or means of making something. So instead of just saying we manufacture it to the highest standards, having an actual story about, we harvest the highest quality steel from regions in Mongolia, renowned for their blades that Genghis Khan wielded when thundering across Asia, putting every component into your cheese grater. That's the kind of story that you would try to tell in your marketing. Again, maybe a little over the top. And the what, result, impact, or change. So melding not just the widget, but the benefit, just like we did during the pains and gains perspective and the jobs perspective, where there's an actual benefit to your product and not just the literal offering. So the result, impact, or change, you might have something like every evening of charcuterie. That's how you say that, right? Charcuterie. Every evening of charcuterie will be better and faster because you have one of our ultra-safe, high-quality Mongolian steel cheese graters. And that's the kind of story that you could try to weave. And those are the 3 parts to a start with why. I hope that you're able to fill them in top to bottom. Maybe you find something a little more inspiring than a cheese grater. But in any event, it is a good first-time cut at making sure that you're trying to connect not just what they need, not just how you're going to give it to them, but why the world will be better because you both work together. When you're looking at your solution, you start with why. There's probably 3 important questions. Harkening back to, I'm sure, high school language arts, if you were paying attention, and you should have been. Does your start with why contain enough pathos? So pathos would be emotional content. If there's no emotional content, if you just said, I am making high quality hard drives because the ROI on technology investments is high, that's not going to help you. That's not going to help the customer connect with it. Maybe in a commodity market, you can be very Spartan, very Vulcan, very Spartan in your language, but it's probably not going to be good for emerging markets or early adopters. It gives them nothing to believe in. Next would be ethos. Are you talking about yourself in a positive light, making it so you're establishing a positive character and ethic? Particularly in how you make something, this might be the next level. Do you do it not just a quality product, but also the right way? Saying we do it sustainably. That is an ethos statement that a company might make about their offering. And finally, logos. Do you offer some sort of quantifiable benefit? I'm not saying it's as simple as saying we are 7.8% better than the competition. But in a commodity market, maybe in the hard drive market, you're like, we have more gigabytes. We have all the gigabytes and it's good. Having some of that, maybe not in the start with why, but definitely heading into this greater pitching structure and identifying what is the emotional, ethical, and logical reasons to partner with you to solve problems. That's what we're going to go after as we try to develop our pitch. Please do watch Simon's talk. Consider picking up a copy of Start With Why if you like. It is a great read. I quite enjoy it. It's great for anyone, not just sales and marketing people, also just leadership. And then also he's a good writer. I liked it. And that's everything you need to know about starting with why to start building your pitch. There's more tools in our roadmap that we're going to cover. I look forward to it. Thanks for watching. This has been Launch University. I've been Eric Ralston, and you keep starting with why.